What's going on, everybody? Let's scroll through a few charts real quick. We're not going to spend too long, but I just want to focus on a few. So we've got up here what was clearly a reaccumulation pattern, and we know that for sure. Why? Tesla bought 1.5 billion in this area. Literally, right in here. Their average entry, they said, was somewhere around 34,000, just slightly over 34,000. So we have, I'm on the FTX perp. Give me just a second. We had this massive bottom, which was an accumulation pattern in itself. The only one that we know for sure that was buying in here was Michael Saylor with his 11,000 average entry on his first purchase, and he's added since then as well. And we know that Tesla has been buying up here. But if you think about it, this is just a miniature version of this gigantic thing right here, right? And we've already started expanding out of this one, and we should expect to see the same thing here. If we go down to like the 4 hour, you can see how similar it is. Sell off, bounce, another sell off. The final sell off didn't quite break the low before expanding upward. So I find it highly unlikely that we're just done here. I find it highly unlikely that the world's richest man just bought the top. And yeah, sure, he's got an average entry around 34,000, right? Say his average entry is right in here. I'd say that's a pretty solid entry. But not if we're just going to top off here and fall back in. That's not really what you buy 1.5 billion worth for. It is my firm belief that any pullbacks here are going to be bought up, and we're going to grind higher before a larger move up. There may be another sell-off similar to this one somewhere, giving us a range like this before the next impulse. But I primarily think that we are headed upward in this cycle. I would love to see where it does give us this last sell-off, because that would give us more time in our bull market. In the meantime, I'm not over here buying Bitcoin. I am very much loading up on alts. YFI is one that I have been very vocal on, and I believe is still in this accumulation stage. You can turn log off and see that it's got even more potential than what it looks like when you have log on. We're talking about a pretty decent move here. At some point, I would expect it to reach back up to these levels here. 200, 300% from current price. I tried to Elon Musk this one, and my average entry is right in here. So I was accumulating, and my target is not here, right? My target is up here. I think very much that this will circle around here. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to put it back in log. What I really want to see now is a breakout from this lower accumulation area, where we do something like this. I do think it's possible that we revisit this level. However, just looking around at the market, that's not my immediate thought. Another one that I'm really focusing on is Link. Let's go ahead and go to the high time frame here. So on the weekly, we've got this accumulation pattern, expanded upward. reaccumulation, expanded upward, reaccumulation. I fully believe that we are expanding upward out of this last reaccumulation. And I say last reaccumulation. What I'm implying by that is that I think that we'll have a larger correction once it tops out. And we probably come back into this area or even retest this level here. But it is very possible that we come up here, here, and do it one more before coming up a final time. Link has never seen the drawdowns that you've seen in other markets, right? I mean, this was pretty significant here. But you look at other USD charts and they just look like this. They don't have this structure up. So Link overall has a strong uptrend. And it's very possible that it continues to do this, continues to stair step. But as these accumulation periods get smaller, I get a little more worried that it's not as sustainable. And I've posted about that a little bit before. That's how a parabola is made. Parabolas are made from the corrections lasting less and less time, right? As a correction takes less time, we have less time to get ready for the move up. So the impulse up is typically pretty strong. There's no resistance up in here. So it typically moves pretty quickly, but it's not quite as healthy. And it leaves us with less support below to where we could come up to 125 and easily fall back to $10. And that would be a really massive correction for Link, giving us something like this. And it would probably be the bottom for the next cycle, right? We're not worried about this yet. I mean, that's not something that we need to focus on right now. But I'm very much focused on this move up and taking profits on that next move. So if we go back down to daily here, I'm going to delete this one. I don't need this fake parabola either. So essentially I'm showing that we've got to move up a range and we're going to move up behind it, right? We have already expanded out of this range. We've moved up above this range, above the all-time high, after we had 162 days of accumulation or reaccumulation. We don't just expand out of this to fall back in it. If we did that, man, I would be pretty concerned for the entire market. But the likelihood of us having this contraction or this corrective period for 160 days and then only trending up for a few percent out of it is highly unlikely. So I am expecting that we see a move up to the 75 to 125 type levels. We can see an example of this over on AV. Where it accumulated for 132 days after the high. And once it started expansion, the expansion here, really you could call it this point, call it here, but we're talking about a 600% move in approximately 35 days. Could Link see that? I absolutely see no reason that it couldn't. Now its market cap is a little higher, but there's no reason that Link shouldn't be in the top few coins. And the top 5 is going to see major growth in all of this. So a few coins would have to outpace to gain into the top 5. Right now, I think Link is sitting around 7 or so. I think it overtakes USDT. I think it overtakes Tether. Will it overtake ETH? Highly doubtful. Not this cycle. Maybe later in this cycle. But same thing here. We had this above the all-time high. We had an accumulation, and then we moved up. So that's what we're looking for on Link as well. Same thing on Wi-Fi. 150 days of accumulation here, right? And we have sorted out the new supply. It now has 6,000 extra tokens, but it's still sitting around a market cap, I think 1 billion. Market cap 1.1 billion. Could this reach 5 billion? I absolutely think so. Our top 5 right now is a 22 billion market cap. So 5 billion is nothing. And I genuinely think this could run to 300 or 100,000 to even 150,000. So I'm pretty well sized in this one, and I think we're beginning to see this move up. Some other coins that have been popping off recently, coins like RSR. Looks great. It's a little early, or it's a little late to get in now, but you can see that we really haven't expanded too far out of this, right? It's still pretty early in its expansion. So any retracement here would still be a good opportunity to get in. Or you could even get in now. I probably wouldn't want to take on a full 1R risk on this. But we're looking at some pretty solid potential for price increase here. I would say minimum 10 cents. What else has been flying? There's been a few coins that have had some absolutely massive moves recently. Elrond, I'm pretty sure we've pretty much missed that one. Yeah, that's it's beautiful. This is the type of move we're talking about, though. We can still catch these type moves right here on so many of these coins. Could this still have more upside left in it? Absolutely. Why not? But there's so many that are in this type of accumulation, or this right here. 500%. That's what we're talking about on the AV. 500% out of some kind of pattern that looked quite similar to this, but it was on a higher time frame. For me, I see this as a flat. And then we've got this basing pattern behind it. So this is an A, B, C. Delete that. And a base right here for the impulse up. Now I would expect that this move is probably getting to its final stages in terms of time. It can't go much longer continuing to increase at this rate. So what if we only have a few days left on these altcoins to pop off before we have a larger correction? That is very possible, and it's something we need to be aware of. So don't let anybody shame you for taking profits. When you take profits, you could also use hedging. Say you have Link USD is a spot holding. You can short the perpetual futures, get paid funding, and still be neutral in the market. So if you're long spot Link and you short it 1-to-1 on the Link perp, then you have no exposure to Link because you're hedged and you're still getting paid a little bit of funding. Now, I'm not saying to short Link right now. I already showed you. I expect it's going to move up massively. This is another chart I was looking at. So if I still expect it's going to move up massively, I'm not saying to short it right now. But once we do get this move up, if you wanted to start hedging spot holdings with shorts, there's nothing wrong with doing that. So low time frames, we could still get a little bit of a shakeout here. I think it's pretty clear on link that we have a continuation pattern right here. And this is some kind of first impulse, and we should be starting a stronger move here. But this current move could still retrace down into this range and be healthy. That wouldn't bug me at all. If you're not long link, that might be something you're looking for. You might be looking to buy right in here. But I wouldn't necessarily count on it, because once these moves start, they do tend to get moving pretty quickly. Alright guys, I think that's really all I've got. I guess we should look at ETH real quick. Bullish on ETH as well, and it looks great here. So ETH for me, we still have this flat ABC. We've got another flat right here. As this is an accumulation or reaccumulation pattern. You look at volume, not a whole lot to read here on the 4-hour volume. Honestly, on FTX at least, we haven't seen any massive volume inflow, and we're still managing to go up in price. But you should also keep in mind that that is based on the number of Ethereum tokens moved, or Ethereum contracts. If we look at the number based in USD, it should look much healthier actually. So let's look at the crypto cap here. We'll leave it on 4-hour. And not too much data here either. Just kind of bouncing around in here, pretty consistent volume. You can see we got a pretty significant increase right here. And it's really been pretty solid volume through this entire piece. We're nowhere near what we were back here. And this is based on the US dollar amount transacted. So this gives you a pretty good idea. Let's look at Bitstamp real quick, or even Coinbase. Let's look at Coinbase. Yeah, there's very little volume in here. So we are seeing a volume sell-off. But being that we are now in this parabola, it's going to take very little volume to have us move up. So don't use volume as an indicator that you should be shorting, or an indicator of weakness, direct weakness. On the high time frame, yeah, I don't love that. I don't love the lack of volume. But let me go back to the ETH crypto cap. We can still, you can see the average is rising. We can still travel much further before that volume, that lack of volume, causes an issue. And here we really saw volume increase as we reached the high. Still pretty low in here, right? Now it's increasing, but it's increasing over here as well. Yeah, there's very little volume at the very top. This last move. This move had a lot of volume. But this last move here, From here up, shows very little volume here, even though it's a 200% move. So you want to be aware of that. And I honestly don't really think we're here. I think we're more like back here. So any sell-off is likely to be a continuation pattern. Alright guys, that's all I got. It'll probably be a few days before I get another video out. If you have any questions, just hit me up on the Twitter or in the Discord. My Discord the link is on my Twitter. Other than that, we'll see you in the next one.